We issued the bench warrant back on September 11th, so there's a bench warrant out because I didn't have a payment on September 10th. Now I have the two payments. I don't know, so it's just a lot of work for my office to keep issuing bench warrants and then having to unissue the bench warrant.
Judge, if you'd like, I can update everybody at least as to where we're at.
Yeah, I was waiting till the 10-minute mark, and
Okay.
10-minute mark, we're going to go ahead and start.
Okay.
So this is in the District Court of Ellis County, Kansas, case number 17 DM 76, Bobby Ann Sulco versus Michael L. Sulco. May I have an announcement of appearances, please?
May it please the court, Your Honor, Julie Grabby appears for the 23rd Judicial Court Trustee.
May it please the court, Morgan O'Hara Gearing appearing on behalf of the respondent, Michael Sulco, who does not appear.
Had some information that Bobby would be joining us, but she has not. Ms. Grabby, if you'd like to update the court.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're on our continuing contempt docket. Ms. Sulco has a $342 obligation. She's been paying semi-intermittently about $350 every other month or so once we've gotten her on this docket. We do not have, the last payment was March of $350, and we do not have a payment yet for April. As I expressed earlier, we were able to contact Ms. Sulco yesterday, gave her the Zoom information, and did expect her to be on today. Typically, what ends up happening is that after we have one of these, she usually makes a payment. I would probably request the same thing that I request on these as normal course, which is if there is no payment within 10 days, that we be allowed to issue a bench warrant with a cash bond of $500 to be applied to the child support, and that we reset this matter in 30 days or so for next month's docket to make sure payments are continuing. Obviously, that continuing in order to make her payment. So that's what we would request at this point.
Ms. O'Hara.
Your Honor, I don't know that we necessarily have an objection to that just because we want her to be paying, but in my review of the court file, I can't see that there's been a finding of contempt yet. But I think I guess our position would be, I think she's clearly in contempt of court if you look through the KPC records and the fact that she didn't pay this last month, but she's just not been consistent at all. And I don't even know if they can issue an income withholding order with employment. I'm not even sure of where she stands on that. But Your Honor, I guess I don't know if the court has to set it for a different docket or how it works, but I think my client would like to see that at least she's found in contempt, that there's a finding of that. I just can't see from the journal entries to date that that's been done. But we don't have an objection to, a requirement that she's got to make a payment in 10 days or the remedy that Ms. Grabby asked for. But I think at this point, I think we would ask for a contempt finding.
Your Honor, I'm looking through my notes and I think Morgan is correct. I'm not seeing a specific contempt finding, and I'm going back to 2024 here. So I think I would join in that request as well if we're going to go forward with that.
We were all set up for the contempt hearing for September 30th, but that journal entry does not appear to make that finding. She failed to appear and we issued a bench warrant in September.
Yeah, I see September 4. I don't have any notes in here though that say that we specifically found her in contempt.
Then it looks like February 12th, journal entry from January 3rd. She appeared.
Yeah, and the same thing, Your Honor. I show that
Okay.
I'm not showing an actual finding.
Okay.
So I'd request that today so that we're just all clear.
And for the record, you are Bobby Ann Sulco.
Hi.
Bobby, have you joined us?
I can't hear them. Do you know why? I don't have any audio
Ms.
for some
Sulco,
reason. I don't know if anybody can
can
hear
you,
me.
but she obviously is not hearing us.
Your Honor, I'm shooting a chat over that we can hear her. Do you want me just to put into the
Might,
main chat what we've done so far, or?
well, she'll have to disconnect and
hear anything.
reconnect if she's not hearing us.
Okay. Now she's muted.
Yes, I can try to do that.
Can you hear us at all?
She's saying that she can't hear at all.
I'll try to leave and come back in just a second.
I don't know if she's joining us.
No, Your Honor, and I know we have another hearing in about 5 minutes,
Yeah,
so I'm okay with proceeding. We will obviously email her and let her know.
why don't you reschedule it here as soon as you can? Send her notice that we'll also do the contempt hearing and review her payments.
Okay. Okay, what are you wanting for an order though for today?
Well, that she needs to appear at the next hearing. Obviously, we need to have a finding of contempt before we can proceed with the bench warrant. We'll just have to continue today's hearing and reschedule it. If we do something here in a couple weeks, you can mail her all the necessary notices and the Zoom information. She needs to check her connection and make sure she has a good connection.
Yes, you want to tell us what you got?
Yeah, I'm looking, judge has time the morning of the 15th.
What time?
He has 30 minutes at 9 o'clock, or he has an hour at 10 o'clock.
I'm gonna be driving at 9 o'clock, but I could do it.
I cannot, I have a hearing at 10 o'clock, but I could do 9 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, so then the next week, the 22nd, he has time at 11:30 on the 22nd.
I will be in
I can't do that day.
Can't either.
Yeah, and then the next week is, the only time he has is the 30th in the morning.
I mean, if judge doesn't mind that I'll be mobile on the 15th, I can do a 9 a.m.
Well, as long as you've got a place you can pull over. If you're the driver, I don't want you driving and lawyering at the same time.
I'm an excellent multitasker. Yeah, I mean, I think I can do that. That's fine.
At
Find a
9?
place- Find a place to pull over. May 15th, 9 a.m.
And we'll just use the same Zoom information.
Yes. Just grab if you could get a payment history to the court.
I can do that.
She's back.
See if the audio works.
No, I'm on with them. Thank you.
Ms. Sulco, can you hear us? Ms. Sulco?
Let me shoot her a message. I'm guessing not. No,
Ms. Sulco, can you hear us?
she can't.
She have her volume turned up?
Let's ask. And then what's the other thing?
I think sometimes there's a volume thing on the Zoom, isn't there? Where you have to click audio.
Oh, she can switch her.
I think I just got it.
Oh, I think
Can
she
you
got
hear
it.
us?
Did you get it?
Yes, I think I hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Ms. Sulco, we are on for a review hearing of your payment of child support. There was also a motion filed way back. Motion for contempt that was filed in July of last year. Looks like got continued and we had a hearing in September, but there's no order of finding of contempt. So Ms. Grabby will need to do that aspect of it.
Yeah, that's fine, Your Honor. If I can put it in the journal entry that there's been a finding made, and then I guess we would renew our 10-day request for the payment. Bobby, are you working? Do we have somewhere we can IWO?
No, ma'am, I'm not. I am trying to open my phone. I was going to ask to request to be taken off of Zoom publicly, if that is possible, and I don't know how to go about doing that, I guess.
Okay, Jess, take it off of the YouTube. Leah Furlan versus Jason Latrell. And Ms. Grabby, we last got together on August 13th. He had made a $400 payment August 10th and was ordered to make his payment by September for a bench warrant issue. Where are we at?
So Your Honor, we had a long conversation last time about what to do if, I guess things came through the day of or the day after, mostly the day after. You had ordered a payment to be made by the 10th of each month. Jason made a payment on the 12th. I'm showing, and that may have been, yeah, I'm a little confused. One came in on the 12th, and I think that might have been, and he could maybe tell me one that he made. I also have another one that was for 210. I have another one, a receipt from today, which looks like $204.98, which would not have posted yet and has not posted yet. That looks like that's dated today. I got the notification of that at 1:30-ish. So needless to say, we issued the bench warrant back on September 11th. So there's a bench warrant out because I didn't have a payment on September 10th or by September 10th. Now I have the two payments. I don't know. So it's just a lot of work for my office to keep issuing bench warrants and then having to unissue the bench warrant. And so that's where we're at. We can do this again next month, I suppose.
Mr. Latrell, why are you chronically 2-3 days late?
Your Honor, I'm doing the best I can. I don't have a vehicle. I'm picking up work as I can, and I'm doing the very best I can. And I'm aware of my responsibilities, and I'm pledged to make sure that they're taken care of. I'm in a tight bind right now. I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm trying to make ends meet. And so when I get work, I turn it in as soon as I get paid. And so that's the only answer I have. I'm aware of my responsibilities, and I'm trying my best to make sure they get paid.
And we've talked in the past about how much simpler this would be if you would work ahead and get 1 month ahead so that you wouldn't have these problems.
I agree, Your Honor. I absolutely agree. And I'm doing my best to do so.
Because you keep paying, but you're always 2 days late. What do you propose, Mr. Latrell?
I mean, I'm doing the best that I can, Your Honor. I can't, come up with money if I don't have it. I mean, I've sold a bunch of things. I've got things listed to sell. Like I said, without transportation, it's been making work a little more difficult. So I'm picking up what I can when I can, and hopefully get the vehicle fixed. But I'm aware of my responsibilities, and I've been, paying these things as soon as I can. So that's where I'm at. I'm currently working on a job. I got more work coming in, so that's a good thing. So I'd love to get a week ahead or a month ahead, excuse me, and that way we don't have this conversation. I agree wholeheartedly. It'd be the ideal thing to do.
Now, if you could get 1 month ahead, then if you run into a day or two delay, you're still fine because you're paying ahead of time.
Sure. You know, when I had to pay them larger setbacks when I did get picked up on those bonds and I had to come up with the $1,500. Obviously, you know, that was a large amount of money to come up with. But if I'm sitting in jail, I can't make any money. And you know, and then when I had to come up with that amount of money to get out, you know, and in which it's my own fault. I realize that. But the fact of the matter is, $1,500 is a lot to come up with at one time. So it has made it difficult to recover from. You know, so. But I'm definitely doing the best that I can. I'm very much aware of my responsibilities. I'm not denying that.
Your Honor,
Yes.
he says he has no vehicle. Does he have a driver's license? A valid driver's license?
Latrell, there's a question as to whether you have a valid driver's license.
Is this a question of the court or of someone else? That, I mean,
Well, the question's asked, but it's a good question. Do you have?
as far as I know, I do. I mean, I could ask that. I haven't had it ran lately. I guess I was unaware of that. I don't have one. Last I knew, I have a CDL.
Okay, well, make sure you have a valid license if you're driving.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll check into it because evidently someone knows something that I don't.
Ms. Gravy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was actually going to ask that question as well. So, just to make sure that he, once the car is fixed, does have a way to get around. I guess, I'm going to request the same thing that I requested last time, that I requested the month before that and the month before that. I'm still going to keep the cash bond at 500, if the court would so allow. I would remind the court and Mr. Latrell, the reason it was 1,500, and I do realize that's hard to recover from. The reason it was that amount is because the lesser amounts weren't doing anything. Because the lesser amounts, every time I had a lesser amount, he would come up with it, but he would skip 2 months before a payment would be made. And so using the bond to make the payment is great, except that still put him behind. So that's why it's at 1,500. I'm going to request that it remain at 1,500. I would request that he continue to make that payment of 400 by the 10th of the month. We're going to continue with the court's permission to issue a bench warrant on the 11th, I guess, if it's not made. So I just want Jason to be aware of that. I think he's aware of that at this point. But you know, it's causing my staff and me having to review things more than, 3 or 4 times a month to see what's going on. So we're going to request the same thing, that we come back in a month and see where we're at.
Now, you understand, Mr. Latrell, for half the price of a bond, you could get a month ahead.
Absolutely, Your Honor. I'm very much aware of the math on it, and I'm doing the best I can. I mean, absolutely.
Well, Ms. Gravy, once again, you'll have to do the order withdrawing the bench warrant for September, because he's now paid September. Mr. Latrell, if you don't pay by the 10th, she's going to issue another bench warrant.
I realize, Your Honor, and I'm going to do my best to make sure we don't have this conversation again.
And if you would just get paid a month ahead, we could not only quit having the conversation, we could quit having these hearings.
That's my goal, Your Honor. That's my goal.
Next hearing, Mr. Latrell, October 15th at 9:30.
I will see you then.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions, Ms. Ferlin?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Tanya Ferlin versus Jason Latrell. May I have an announcement of appearances, please?
May it please the court, Your Honor, Julie Gravy appears for the 23rd Judicial Court Trustee.
Jason
You're
Latrell is here in
Latrell?
person?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're on for a status from our last hearing. That was October 15th of 2024. You were ordered to make your payments. You made the 2 payments, and then of course you were ordered to make your November payment on time. Ms. Gravy?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have a standing order with the court that he pay $400 by the 10th of each month. We on the 10th or on the 11th, I think, during the day, I know the court was closed. We issued a bench warrant to you, so it may be sitting in your queue in there. We had an email from Jason around 11 o'clock at night, and we have receipts showing the $400 payments were made on the 11th. So they have been made. But just so you know, that is sitting in your queue. as of yesterday, and I assumed, because of Veterans Day, you probably haven't signed it. But it is sitting there. We would request that we have the, continued standing order for the payment by the 10th a month, and we reset this again for, December, sometime after the 10th.
You indicated he paid, but he paid on the
11th,
11th, a day late.
correct.
Okay, is there any point in issuing the warrant to recall it?
I mean, Your Honor, the reason we put a date in place is because if we don't put a date in place, we get payments 1, 2, 3, 5 days late. So to me, if we're not issuing the bench warrant, I don't know that there's any teeth behind it. I kind of figured this was what was going to happen, but I had Molly do the bench warrant anyway, because I didn't know if there was going to be a payment, in the inbox come this morning. And there was. But this is kind of the status quo, that the payment comes either a day late or 2 days late, and we have to issue and recall. So my office is really tired of issuing bench warrants. Same conversation we've had previously.
Mr. Latrell,
Yes, sir. I didn't know where to call, Your Honor. I mean, when I was running late on it, I had weather issues with the job, and then I didn't know where to call over the weekend to tell them that I was gonna be late. I mean, everything would have been closed, and I did my best to get it in as soon as I possibly could. I'm very much aware of my responsibilities. I'm doing the very best I can, Your Honor. I am, and I don't believe sitting in jail is going to get me any more work or get this taken care of. I'd love to get a couple months ahead. I mean, I truly would, and I'm working on it. I'm doing the best that I can right now. I've just had some setbacks, and I'm working through them, and I feel pretty positive. I did delay getting it sent in yesterday a little later than I should have, but it was on that day, and I had to take care of some things, and I did get it sent in though yesterday. I was a day late. I will admit to that.
I will say, Your Honor, we have had at least $400 payments, which is taking care of a piece of the arrears, since we've instituted this standing order. That's why I'd like to keep the standing order. It's just not always on the day that you indicate in your order that it should come in, but we are, this time it was a day late. I don't remember October. I think it was a couple days late in October. But we are paying, so $275 is the amount that's owed for current, and then there's the rest of it is for arrears. So he is making a dent in that arrears. And I think we're gonna have a child emancipate maybe next year. So that's where we're at with it. I would just ask for the continuing order. I don't know what else to do here.
I actually was on time last. I just didn't get the receipts in, and I don't know what I had some problems with. I didn't think they were on time though.
That might have been it.
The
yeah,
receipts just didn't get sent for whatever reason, and I had to resend them.
this is for both. Well, Ms. Ferland, do you have any input?
I thought on time is the first of the month. And Judge, you were generous enough to give him those 10 days. So on time would be the first. I don't know. Well, that's about all the info.
Are correct. It's due on the 1st. We normally, if we have an order saying if you are more than 10 days late, then we're going to issue the bench warrant. But because we've had some issues with the documentation and getting the documentation from the payment center, we generally give them a 24-hour grace period to see if the information comes in. Okay, so when we say pay by the 1st, bench warrant issue on the 10th, we actually don't issue bench warrant till the 11th because of the 24-hour grace period. So Ms. Grabby, if you want to talk to your staff, and because I think this is the second time where on the 11th day, you put together all the paperwork and then the payment shows up. So I agree. I don't want your staff doing paperwork for an arrest when the payment is made within the last 24-hour grace period. So if you could have your staff hold off a day or two, bench warrant, I think it saves everybody a lot of work.
I mean, maybe, Your Honor, I think that what happens then is that we just don't have another payment for a day or two. Because then he knows that it's not going to be issued for a day or two, and so then it doesn't come in the 10th or the 11th or the 12th, but it shows up
Well,
the 13th.
no, we issue on the 10th, we have a grace period of 24 hours, that's the 11th. If he hasn't paid by the end of the 11th, you issue the bench warrant.
Okay, well, I guess that's what we did this time.
And Mr. Latrell, we've talked about this several times.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you would get yourself a month ahead of time, life would be a lot easier.
I believe it definitely would be, Your Honor. Absolutely.
Now, if you get to where you're paying always 1 month ahead of time, that way, if you're off a few days, you're still paying a month early, so it's okay. But you keep
I'm working on
flirting,
that, Your Honor. I promise I am. I'd love to have that be the case. That's my year-end goal.
you keep flirting with, pushing off your payment, and then we're looking at arresting you, and you've been arrested and you've posted your bond.
Yeah, and that's what set me behind to begin with. So I'm doing everything I can to avoid that, Your Honor.
And that will continue to set you behind. So, Ms. Grabby, with that understanding, yeah, if you don't have a payment to the payment center records by the end of the 11th day, put together your paperwork. But, the court's always going to grant that 24 hours because we always have, not always, we routinely have a situation where the payment gets made and then we don't get a notice until a day later. So we always want to err on the side of caution when issuing a bench warrant. So.
And I'll do better about trying to get it in earlier. This time was a bit of a delay. I admit it was not my goal at all.
And I hope you're not just taking advantage of the fact the 11th day was a holiday.
No, sir, at all. I actually got rained out on Friday, so I wasn't able to finish the project I was on.
Well, you're still in contempt, Mr. Latrell. You still have to purge yourself by making your payment every month. It's due on the 1st.
Yes, sir.
Bench warrant issues on the 10th, which with practicality and the 24-hour grace period I allow for payment center, that's the 11th day.
I realize, Your Honor.
You understand that?
Yes, sir.
That doesn't mean make payments on the 11th day. That means make payments on the 1st day.
Absolutely.
Okay. You want to review him again next month, Miss Grabby?
Yeah, Your Honor, I would. I will be out of town that week of the 10th, so maybe the week after, but I don't know what your calendar looks like.
Hey, Jess?
You're out the whole week of the 9th through the 13th, truly?
I leave on Wednesday.
Because Judge really doesn't have anything until Friday, the 20th in the morning.
I can do that.
The review is November 20th at 9 o'clock.
December 20th, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, December. Yeah. So December 20th at 9 o'clock a.m. Anything further for today, Ms. Grabby?
Nothing further for today, Your Honor.
Anything further today, Mr. Latrell?
No, sir.
Anything further, Ms. Ferlin?
I know, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, and you'll do the order, Ms. Grabby?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
You're on for our review. Have we made our payment?
Yes, sir. There was a payment made of 400 by the 10th. That has posted, and therefore I'm just going to request that we have that continuing order to make 400 by the 10th of each month. If none is made, that the bench warrant would issue with the cash bond of $1,500 to be applied to the child support obligation, and that we continue this out to the January date, somewhere 24th or past, via Zoom.
How are we doing on the arrearage? This is all arrearage, I understand.
So we are the obligation is no $275 a month, and then the arrearage, any extra is going to arrearage. So for the last we've gotten payments, so we have made some headway on the arrearage. We're currently at $11,412 in arrearage.
Okay. Okay, well, the order will continue that you need to pay by the 10th of the month. She'll check on the 11th. If it's not receipted, she'll request and the court will issue the bench warrant. You understand that?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Absolutely.
Okay. Again, I would encourage you, if you could get yourself a month paid in advance, that would make your life a lot easier.
I believe so. I believe you're right, Your Honor. Christmas this month made it a little tough. I was hoping that I'd be able to pull in a little bit more, but with Christmas right here, I hope to next month for sure.
Okay. Any objection to proceeding as we have been? Mr. Latrell?
Absolutely not. That's fine with me, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else for today, Miss Grabby?
Just resetting it for January. I'm sure your schedule is packed. So just to see what we could get for January.
Jess will squeeze him in. She'll find 15 minutes for us.
And Jess, I have some conflicts in January. I'm available like the 24th and past. So I'll be out of the country for a little bit.
Oh, so you're available after the 24th and
24th
after?
or after, yep.
Sure. Judge has time the afternoon of the 27th.
I can make that work.
Like at 2:30, does that work?
That works.
Okay, January 27th at 2:30, Mr. Latrell.
Sounds perfect, Your Honor.
Miss Jacobs?
That works for me.
Okay. We'll get together on January 27th at 2:30.
I'll send out a journal entry, Your Honor.
Excellent. Anything else for the record today?
No, Your Honor.
Miss Grabby,
None for me.
Miss Jacobs,
Nope, nothing.
Mr. Latrell.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you all. Morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Judge.
We are on for review of the contempt hearing. There had been a warrant issued which you requested to be withdrawn, Miss Grabby.
Yes, Your Honor, we received a payment, notification of a payment on the morning of the 13th, I believe it was. He made the payment on the 12th at midnight, basically. So the morning he sent us the notice and we recalled the bench warrant.
Mr. Latrell,
Yes, Your Honor.
it just perplexes me that you continue to make the payment 1 and 2 days late.
Your Honor, I'm doing the best I can. I've been sick for almost a week now, and I haven't hardly left the house at all. I honestly had to borrow the money at the last moment to even get it paid. I had to get it forward on things. I just haven't been. I've been sick for almost a week, and I wasn't able to get it together. But I did get it paid, and I'm trying to do the best I can, Your Honor. That's all I can do.
Ms. Grabby.
Your Honor, we'd like the standing order to continue, which is the payment of $400 by the 10th of the month. And if none is made, the bench warrant should issue with a cash bond of $1,500. and then reset the hearing again in March. If March 25th at 10 a.m. is open, we would take that slot and put it along with the rest of the other items we have that morning.
Just does that time slot work?
Yes, Judge.
March 25th at what time?
10 o'clock.
Anything else for the record, Mr. Latrell,
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Ferlin,
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Grabby?
No, Your Honor, I don't know, having Molly prepare that again, and having you to have to sign it again, I'm wondering if we get a late payment, do we just leave the bench warrant in place until the next hearing, or do we lift it because he's made the payment?
Well, I think we had agreed that because of contact from the payment center, it's due on the 10th. You would hold off until the 12th to make sure we could check with the payment center and then issue the bench warrant. In this case, where he didn't pay till the, do you know when he paid?
Yes, it was the 12th at 11:54 p.m. He did send us the morning of the 13th at like, I don't know, 6 a.m. maybe, his receipt. So, I mean, I found out that morning when I opened my email.
You're frustrating, Mr. Latrell.
I understand, Your Honor. I'm frustrated as well.
Again, if you could get 1 month ahead on this, you'd never have these issues.
I would love to, Your Honor. I would love to.
Let's just do it this way, Miss Grabby. If you don't have proof of payment by the 12th at noon, just issue the warrant.
But I guess the question is, then at 5 p.m. when I get the proof of payment, do you want me to lift it?
No.
Okay.
No. He's in contempt of court for not paying his child support. He has to pay by the 10th. If you don't pay by the 10th, you're still in contempt, Mr. Latrell.
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay? We're
I absolutely understand.
giving you that grace period till noon on the 12th.
I understand, Your Honor.
If she doesn't have proof by noon on the 12th, she's going to issue the bench warrant.
I understand, Your Honor.
And then the bond you pay will go towards your arrearage. I don't think I can make it any clearer than that.
No,
Mr.
I'm completely understanding you, Judge. I absolutely understood all of it. I've understood it. I'm doing the best I can.
I don't want your office doing unnecessary work, Miss Grabby. But it is what it is. So if you don't have proof by the 12th at noon, issue it and we'll see him when he's picked up. Okay?
Do.
Okay. Our next hearing is March 25th at 10 o'clock, Mr. Latrell.
You got it jotted down, Your Honor.
Okay. You'll do an order, Miss Grabby?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we at on payment, Miss Grabby?
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a standing order for a payment to be made by the 10th of the month. We did get a payment on the 11th of $400. We would request the same orders that we make payments of at least $400 by the 10th of the month. And if none is made, a bench warrant would issue with a cash bond of $1,500 to be applied to his child support obligation. And we would like this reset for next month.
Mr. Latrell,
Yes, sir.
any objection to that?
No, sir.
Okay, I notice you're a day late again.
I was a day late, Your Honor, and I did call the office and make them aware of the fact that I didn't get to town in time to cash the check that I was paid with, sir. And I paid it as soon as I could.
Same orders will remain in place, Ms. Grabby. How are we doing on arrearage?
Open it. 11,000. Well, as of last month, because we're just in May now, 10,912. So chipping away at it.
Mr. Latrell, you understand you can pay extra towards your arrearage when you
He
can.
is. He is, Your Honor.
Okay.
The obligation is $275.
Okay. But in addition to that, if you should have extra, you could pay that, Mr. Latrell, or better yet, get paid ahead a month. so that
That's my goal,
you
Your
have
Honor.
Breathing room.
Absolutely.
Okay, Jess, when's our next hearing?
Julie, do we want to put this on that same day,
That would work for me if we just want to do
June 10th?
June 10th at 9:30.
Should we, yeah, I don't know if you want to do an R3010 with considering the last, I don't know. You tell me.
You better give Miss Sulco a full,
I know, that's,
she always ends up taking about 45 minutes when it's all said and done.
yeah, so, I mean, Julie, you, 10 o'clock, does that,
Yep, that works.
okay. June 10th at 10?
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get together and review this on June 10th, 10 o'clock.
Sounds good, Your Honor.
Okay.
I've got it noted.
Anything further today, Ms. Grabby?
No, Your Honor, I will do the journal entry.
Anything further, Mr. Latrell?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Ferland?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.